Hello and welcome to my presentation of my 11th grade year-long project. My name is Jennifer Scott. I'm in 11th grade. I'm a first-year scholar in the Logistics College and a second-year scholar in the Education College. The purpose of my presentation is to show how instructional strategies have the most impact on student achievement. To start off with effect study and the researcher John Hattie, the first component I'm going to be going over is analysis. So there is a form of analysis called meta-analysis. It's not very well known, but it was actually created by an educationalist, and it's quantitative data and some examples of research strategies to get this data or observation surveys and testing. And it consists of primary studies, and primary studies focus on a particular problem and the clarification of the differences in the results and whatnot. And using visualizations for the research helps you find blind spots, and finding blind spots is very important, so you're able to find everything you need without having things stump you along the way. The next thing is perspective, and from John Hattie's article, Visible Learning, he says what is most important is that teaching visible learning to the student and that the learning is visible to the teacher. What is most important is that the teacher is visible to the student and that the learning is visible to the teacher. This is important because if the teacher knows how they're teaching the student, how it's affecting them, then they know how to build off of that and improve their teaching. And they overcome a perspective of being self-centered. It allows them to take the perspective of the students, and they're able to learn more from them, as the students are able to learn from the teacher. Learning in context means the students' learning affects the teacher's actions. Like I said before, the teachers learn off the students and feed off how they're doing to improve their teaching. The next thing I have some examples. So let's say a 6th grade teacher is explaining the state of matter, or teaching about the different states of matter, and if they ask the students, what can you complete on your own? What do you think you already know? Then it can get the students thinking and be like, oh, I already know this. I can go ahead and learn this. It might help them build confidence. My next example is from using a 2nd grade teacher. The teacher can show the students how to solve a multi-step problem, and she shows each step by modeling it out on a chart. And doing that gives a visual representation to the students, and it's very helpful for visual learners. So I think that's very important. When it comes to experience, an ideal teacher, according to John Hattie, it knows the learning abilities of their students and is able to engage in tasks of supporting the students in their learning. If they know their students' learning abilities and know how to help them, they're like, okay, so you're good here, but you're struggling here, let me help you out here. So asking promotes resilience. So if students trust the teachers more, the more the students that trust the teachers, the more likely they're going to ask for help. If they don't trust you very much, or you don't come off as someone that's approachable, they're not going to come ask you for help. And when it comes to reflection, what is it right now that you think you really understand well? If you ask that to the students, that will give you an idea of how to go from there. When it comes to being a teacher's activator, which is the next topic, moving on from visible learning, it's all about consistency. You're going to be an active teacher in the classroom. So if you're going to be active, an example would be having giving extra help to the students each day, using different tactics, like maybe doing number talks, which is a great way for students to learn different ways to solve simple math problems. And then you can also have quick reading time. So just being consistent with strategies you can use to slowly help improve your students' skills wherever they're struggling. Consistency is key. The next topic that we're moving on to is my research topic, and I did scaffolding, and the first component I have is evidence. So scaffolding has actually been used for decades, but is just now receiving more attention as a successful instructional approach. And some of the benefits: it engages students in meaningful discussions, whether they're in small or large classes. So it's able to impact students in any class size that they're in, which I think is really important. And it's also a very supporting learning environment. It's very open to questions, feedback, and supporting peers in learning new material. So it's very open and it's very good for students to keep moving on. And the definition of scaffolding: going to a visual scaffolding is used for builders as support while they're building the building. So if you think of scaffolding as support, it's helping students build up their knowledge and help them in areas that they're weak in. So more details. So the three forms of scaffolding are graphic, interactive, and sensory. So with graphic, you can use charts, models, diagrams, pictures, anything like that. And for example, you can show a picture as a visual representation for students if they're learning math, and you could write out each model, like I said in the example presentation. You write out an example, how the step, the equation on a model, and be like, okay, this is how we got this, and this is how visual representations are really helpful. And then we have interactive scaffolding, and this can be for kids that interaction is definitely more up their alley. So an example of interaction scaffolding is putting the students in groups, and maybe you have cut out your learning an English topic, and they need to complete this chart, and students need to work together and take each piece of paper and put it where it's supposed to be on the chart and work together, and they learn off of each other. And then sensory is a little bit of both. Sensory is kind of like visual. You see it and you can interact with this. So this can be a picture that you see, or this can also be a recording that you hear. So this could be all five, and you could interact with it, or you just see it. For example, would be maybe just a video that the teacher shows to help the students understand what they're learning more. For example, maybe it's a video about a certain social studies topic, and some students are getting it, so you share the video that explains it a little bit more. And then what is scaffolding? Like I said before, it's more support, but it's helping implement reinforcements to help students learn their content more. And I'm going to give more examples of that. So you're learning an English topic, you have it on a diet, and so you have a diagram, and let's say you're learning about grammar, and you have a section of the diagram, and you're going to be like, okay, so these are examples of nouns, verbs, adjectives, visual representations, interactive. You have students working together to do a math problem. And yeah, those are some more examples of scaffolding. So structure. So the structure of implementing scaffolding in the classroom starts with three major components. So identify the struggle. Where are the students struggling? And then once you know that, like, oh, they're struggling with this topic in math, or they're struggling with this topic in English, then you can be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And then choosing your strategy, whether you're going to use sensory, interactive, or visual, whatever you want to do. And then reinforce the students, implement your strategy, and see where you go from it. Watch how it works, and you can always go back and fix it. Resources. So some resources you can use is background information on maybe your strategy as well as the lesson and content that you're teaching. You can use learning guides and lesson plans to help you out if you need them for extra guidance. Now for preparation, you need to construct the strategies. Okay, so be like, okay, we're gonna use this diagram. Okay, I need this video already, need to use this model, or the students are gonna work together. Make sure you know how they're gonna work together and what their goal is to accomplish. And then next, get your materials. If you're just showing a PowerPoint, it's great. If your students are interacting, maybe they might need scissors or glue, they might need materials to finish their task. How to monitor. Monitoring, just watch how the students are doing, and it seems they're improving, then it's a job well done. Or if it doesn't seem to be working for some students, maybe you can go back and look at how you can fix it and be like, okay, they're still struggling that here. Why are they still struggling here? And pinpoint that key detail. So the way this plays out in a lesson plan is for reinforcement. Reinforcement can come more at the end of it. Can happen mostly in the middle of the lesson or at the end of the lesson. If you see that the students still aren't understanding the content, you can, or it's content that they might need extra help, you can implement scaffolding more near the end. So at the beginning they can try and get a grip on it, and if they don't have a grip on it, then you can use scaffolding at the end to reinforce them more. The impact scaffolding has on students, it helps them learn through their potential, and it gives them extra help if they're struggling with something. When it comes to learning your potential, it helps you realize, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I need extra help on, and it boosts the students' confidence when they actually are able to learn the things that they're struggling with. And giving extra help when you're struggling with something is really helpful because you want to understand the things that you're learning, and it does still make you feel more confident. When it comes to monitoring, make sure your strategies are working and it's helping make the students improvement and it's helping to make the students improve. And if it's not, then you can go back and fix your strategy. This is my works cited, and that is the end of my YLP presentation. Thank you for watching.